error occurred. Well, I'm live on some of these. Now we go. All right. Welcome to the Listen to This Bull live show. My name is Matthew Mulholland. That is Remington Huggins. Remington is way cooler than me. It's true, and you can tell by how awesome his office is. I just have this void of nothingness behind me. He's got, what is that, like a hutch? This is how interesting the show has gotten. I'm explaining what a hutch is.
I don't know what it is, Matt, but
Yeah.
I am almost as cool as you until you look at your beard, and then I just not as cool.
You swoon. I can tell.
You know what?
It's a swoonable thing, this thing on my face. That's a nice hutch, though. Just want to let you know.
3 months into work is what I need to do to get there.
So we've got in the wings, if I can get to the right, there we go. We've got in the wings Leslie Gustafon from EuroShield. EuroShield is a rubber roofing material, and today we are talking about whether roofing manufacturers actually care what insurance companies think about them. Because they really shouldn't, in my opinion, but let's find out for real. She had no idea that there was going to be a lawyer on this. I think that's hilarious. Hey, Leslie. This is a very laid-back show. Don't worry. We're not actually going to pick apart everything you say. That's just Remington's job. So we aren't going to do it. It's just going to be him.
Well, it's great to be here. Appreciate it. Leslie with EuroShield Roofing, live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which is where our factory is located. And we've been in business for 23 years and have fun providing a product that's very different from anything else out there.
Have any of your roofs failed from 23 years ago?
Ever? Yes. Anybody in the synthetics business? Absolutely. There's a learning curve. In synthetics, you either take what works and what doesn't work and adjust from there, or you die. It's one or the other.
Yeah, that does seem like something that would murder you every now and then. There's a bunch of people that are saying, hi, I'm trying to be respectful and hi. Okay. So today we're supposed to be talking about whether roofing manufacturers, which you qualify, do you care what an insurance company thinks about EuroShield?
Ultimately, for us at EuroShield Roofing, we do, because we're making a rubber product. We're making a lifetime product. Primarily, though, our mission is to provide the homeowner with the best possible protection. And ultimately, really what is good for the homeowner is also good for the insurance company. So we're not doing it for the insurance company. We're doing it for the homeowner, but we're not providing a disposable shingle. Our goal is to provide a roof covering that will be there as long as the family that resides in the home.
I don't know if EuroShield has this kind of an issue, but for asphalt shingle manufacturers, a lot of times there's compatibility concerns with new products that come out. Maybe there's a discontinued product that is going out of the market and you have to repair it with something that's currently there. Maybe there's compatibility concerns. If the shingle manufacturer then says, we don't allow mixing of these materials or something along those lines, often the insurance company might say, we don't care what the manufacturer says. Just make the repair. You think that's okay?
Yeah, I mean, if I understand, really you're coming at it, whether it's a matching state or not, from the U.S. perspective. And from our perspective, yes, certainly over our 23-year history, and just to give a little bit of a background, basically, we're making a rubber shingle. It's about 70% recycled tires. On an average, 300 tires are used to make up a roof. And so as we went through our 23 years, for sure there were changes in product design and formula to make an even better product than we started with. And it does mean that the locking mechanisms, the formula that gives it its toughness, change over time. We, as a manufacturer, certainly have some of our initial products that would not be compatible to be replaced in the same slope because we have discontinued them and come up with better designs. So it's something where, let's say in the instance a homeowner removes a chimney, you can remove product from one slope that's been aged the same amount of time, that looks the same from a color point of view, and use that to replace where you need excess material, and then use product, new product on another slope. Whether or not that's completely feasible will depend on which product it is, just because over time things do change. If we don't change, we die. So
don't do that.
Does rubber roofing fall under any other roofing category in the building code?
We're a synthetic product, so we are a shake or slate simulated product. And so we do have our own category from that point of view under the roofing
code. Those
are
very different though, right? So if you were falling under shakes codes, reason I'm even asking is just because of you were mentioning basically harvesting from one side to another, reinstallation of materials kind of argument. There's clay and concrete tile and slate available for reinstallation materials. Your slate line is a composite of slate that would definitely, or could be considered slate, I suppose. They don't specify rubber roofing materials in the code. So is it, I guess, as the shingle manufacturer, and I guess this goes along our lines then, can the shingle manufacturer decide when your materials would be okay to be reinstalled? And can a insurance company say that you're wrong about the repair methodology that you come up with for your own materials?
Ultimately, we're going to be the owner of whether or not we would agree with if products were removed and reinstalled. With our product, it is tough enough, durable enough that it can be reused when given the right methods. So we're not going to have an issue with that as long as there's some amount of care on the removal.
Remington, have you ever seen one of these EuroShield roofs?
I don't know. I really don't. I've seen, the type of product that Leslie's talking about on different roofs. And I even went, I went down to National Claims Institute, a month ago or so. And there were some products that looked similar to what Leslie's been describing.
That is the EuroShield roof, the one that's at NCI?
Yeah. Okay. Then I have, and I've seen it on kind of more of high-end type residential homes. I've been seeing that type of product on those types of homes.
Yes, and so from a code point of view, when you talk about residential building code, there is a separate subsection of composite shakes or composite slates. So it's not that we fall under the same code as the natural products, but we do have a classification under the residential building code.
Okay. I'll actually have to take a look into that. I'm not that familiar with the synthetic side of all that. All right. So if an insurance company says, we don't care what EuroShield says, we can take your new products that clearly aren't designed the same way as the old stuff, and we can just replace one of the old damaged shingles in with the new one by cutting it in different ways to make it fit. Would that be okay?
It comes down to aesthetics versus functionality. Functionally, can it work? Yes. Aesthetically, that's where the challenge can be.
Would you guys warrant the new product if you had to cut it in weird ways to make it fit?
In some cases, yes, because if it's something where it's been a change to our interlocking system,
Right.
where you're talking about a small section that you can make a modification to that new shingle and place it in the field and secure it in a way that we're comfortable with from a wind point of view. Um, our shingle isn't as brittle or rigid as a lot of standard products that are out there.
Okay. You guys might be a little bit unique in that then, because most shingle manufacturers would not want someone to modify, especially the sealant strip area on an asphalt shingle or something. If you were to cut off any part of that area, you would have a severe issue with holding that shingle down. But you guys are using almost a French cleat kind of system on your shingles. So you might be able to modify some new stuff to fit inside your old ones by modifying that area with a French cleat. Would you want to be involved in showing someone how to do that, or would you feel comfortable warranting something that an insurance company says just do it this way?
We will give some baseline instructions. At the end of the day, we have a manufacturer's defect warranty. If that roof were to later fail due to something that's outside of our standard procedures, installation guides, we're not going to cover that as a manufacturer's defect warranty.
Okay.
So does it matter? Yes, because ultimately that homeowner purchased a premium roof. And when purchasing a premium roof, you've got expectations both in terms of functionality and aesthetics, typically.
I feel like you've made Remington silent for some reason. There's something going on.
Hey, I'm letting you guys nerd out about, the application of the shingle and everything.
Oh,
I'm letting you get it out of your system, Matt, because I know you got a bunch of questions. How about this? We had a question pending. Go for it.
Yeah, we do. Will the rubber product fade or show a difference compared to new material for spot repairs?
The answer is yes. There's no product out there that's not going to have some amount of visible change in UV. And with our product, the difference is because our base color is black, because it is 70% recycled tires, it will change color and actually go to a darker color. UV degrades color in products, whether it's siding, whether it's roofing, whether it's paint. And so as that color degrades in the UV, obviously not all color bases have the same integrity or longevity to them. But with our product, all of our colors are on the darker side because our base color is black. And so because of that, it also means you'll have less color change than you could on some other products. Let's say you take vinyl siding and you make it a dark color. Because their base color is a white or a gray, a light gray, it's going to have significant change over time and fade towards its lighter base color. So not only that, just like a new tire, there is a sheen difference to it. So fresh out of the mold, it'll look like a new tire. It'll have a sheen to it, and it will go to a matte finish in the first few months. And so you can take material, though, that was from the same lot and tie it in, and it will weather in over time, over a few months, a couple of years, depending on the scenario. But if you're taking material from two different lots, you will have lot to lot color variation, with the exception of our black.
Interesting.
Okay.
Matt, hey,
Yeah.
would you ever, in a non-matching state, have an argument for aesthetics? Like, for instance, the fading from the UV. Is that an argument that you would even try and entertain? Or, and I'm just talking out loud here because you say this, and I like it, is, and even Leslie said matching state earlier in the conversation, but it was, I'm just using Georgia for an example. South Carolina knows as well. They're not matching states, but who says they're not matching, right? You use like the compatible argument. But would you ever use this type of argument? There's this pending question from Tristan about, aesthetics in Georgia.
I mean, from a policy standpoint, even if you're not in a matching state, most policies are matching policies. So the policy would have to specifically exclude differences of color due to oxidation, wear and tear, obsolescence, discontinuation, that kind of a thing. And most policies do exclude that now, but not all of them. So unless that is specifically written into the policy, then replacement of any material should be something that matches. Every state is technically a matching state until they have some kind of a case law or there is a lack of a statute that specifies that they must pay for matching. But those statutes, they often just eliminate the carrier from being able to write out the coverage for matching in the policy. But just about every policy technically is a matching policy. It's kind of inherent in there until they exclude it. So yeah, I could. Less and less so. The more time goes on and the more policies that write that out, would I ever make an argument over oxidation or that kind of a thing? But
right. Leslie, have you ever had it where your product was on a homeowner's roof and some of the actual of the product got damaged during the storm and it just needed a patch repair here or there? Obviously, the coloring of the new materials is going to be darker than the coloring of the materials that's been on the roof for 8 years. Have you heard of situations where the insurance carrier is just replacing the entire roof?
Yes. So in areas where there have been very, very significant wind events where obviously it's caused damage, some blow off. And so it's been determined, hey, this is a product that's no longer made, and they have stepped up and replaced the full roof.
Nice. There you go.
so that comes along with Neil's question here. Where your let me just read the whole thing. What have been some instances, if any, where your product has been damaged enough from a covered peril event to warrant a full replacement from an insurance standpoint? Or is your product and the install related to the product simply so good that full replacement would never be required?
So there are two things that typically damage it, right? Hail and wind. And hail, we have a product and formula now that we know that we don't have to worry about any hail damage. Early on, our formula was different. Was it possible to damage it? Yes. There have been very, very few instances, but honestly, in an example where I can think where there was damage, we provided the material because it's our warranty. So we actually warrant versus hail damage. And from a wind point of view, we manufacture a product that has superior wind performance when installed properly. So that's twofold. One, we can provide the product, but two, you've got to have a crew that engages that log properly, that pulls it down into place. And there are examples in the Black Hills of South Dakota where 115 mile per hour winds have blown through a canyon and up over EuroShield roof, and the roof does not move, not a single panel on it. There are other cases where you can have lower wind events where it was not locked in place properly, and it's going to create a problem. So it's not going to magically lock later if it wasn't locked when it was first installed.
And these are basically secured to each other, not with glue. I mean, you might apply glue as a part of that process, but it's got a French cleat that's holding it down. Some kind of a cleat system. Do you guys call it a French cleat, or is it a Canadian cleat?
Well, we're EuroShield. You can call it either.
All right. Yeah, I think that's cool. So even, for most roofing materials, over time, they become less wind resistant because whatever it is that's holding it down wears out. You've got a cleat. It's a physical barrier to lifting. I don't think that that is going to get less wind resistant over time as other materials might.
Yeah, it is an interlocking, basically tongue and groove system. It's almost similar to putting a tongue and groove wood floor type system, but applying it to your roof instead.
Yeah, and same thing for hail. Just because, well, rubber will eventually dry out. Can it start cracking like tires do over time?
So with tires, you could have 30, 35 different ingredients in that rubber mix. So it's not as simple as placing all tires into the same category. If you look at the types of tires that are out there, you have trailer tires, automotive tires, semi tires, not are all the same quality level. We specify in our raw material stream, we specify the type of tire that it must be, as well as the cleanliness, minimum grain size, maximum grain size. So we still are controlling the quality. We know that we have a product that has a significant amount of carbon black in it, more so than the average tire. And what that does is really help against UV degradation. That helps against that helps protect the other materials that it's mixed with. It allows that shingle to stay flexible over the years. And it's also something where, because really what that carbon black does is help maintain flexibility, help keep it from fading out to a light color, and really provide, some of the resilience that it does. And a tire will crack depending on the formula. You also have to think, though, in roofing, you have a shingle that is sitting in the UV all day, every day, but it is not going through the extreme expansion and contraction that a tire does with air, compressed air, as it's going down the road. No blunt
or the friction involved on the road.
That's right. No blunt impacts. You're not hitting potholes. And so you've got a lot less inherent movement that material has to be able to endure.
That's a good point.
Very good
So
point.
is there a weakness to these shingles at all? In fact, I think we got that question.
Yeah. Like anything, right? It's a cost benefit analysis. We provide the most cost competitive premium roof on the market. I did say premium. You are not going to get this roof for the same cost as a typical asphalt shingle. If you are looking at tri-laminate asphalt shingles, you'll be able to get our roof at the same price as a high-end designer series asphalt shingle. Our roof will be at or below the cost of any other premium products out there, whether it's a higher quality metal. We're not talking about, barn metal, corrugated metal, but more. And then also, if you're looking at other synthetic products, we will be at the bottom end, if not the lowest, tied for the lowest in terms of initial price.
Okay. So your downfall is that you're priced correctly.
We are more expensive than a disposable asphalt shingle. So if what you want is a short-term product because you're not going to live in that house very long, you're not in an area where you're worried about hail coming through again in 2 months to 7 years, then go for it. But if you're going to be in that house a while, you're in an extreme storm market, or you have requirements around the aesthetics and curb appeal, that's where we can offer a great deal of value.
And if you haven't, I would like to throw this out there. If you haven't seen one of these roofs like in person, go out of your way and go look at one. They look like it's almost like that slate, like rock, type material is what it looks like from, standing back and looking. And then once you get close to it, I remember the first time I ever saw one, I got close to it. I was like, wait, is that rubber? It really is surprising. It looks like it's almost just slate.
And once it gets to matte, when it was first installed, it was a little bit shiny, like you said, but once it gets the matte finish after kind of whatever it does.
Yeah.
It does. I have a slate roof here, and it's very similar. It is very similar. Obviously, if you really look hard at it, you might be able to see some patterns in some of it and see it duplicate itself. But outside of that, it's a damn good looking roof. And the cedar shake version that I have some loose shingles of out here look damn good too. And I honestly think that no one should be installing wood shake ever. That is a terrible roof. Beautiful, sure, but God, the maintenance involved in this, your roof is just, there's no maintenance. You're not going to get footfall damage on this. You can't damage it with hail. I've seen the videos. Remington, EuroShield gave us a hail cannon. Did you know that? They gave us one to shoot their shingles. I still haven't used it to shoot their shingles, but they gave us one to do that. And I'm just an asshole for not doing it yet. They claim you can't damage this thing with 4-inch hail. I've seen videos. There's no damage. It blows my mind. I'm looking forward to really testing this thing out, but it being rubber, I'm sure I'm going to have to wear some kind of a maybe bomb outfit or something so that the shit that flies back at me, I don't get damaged.
Next time I'm in town, let's figure this out.
Is there a weakness to storm at all for this material? What should we look for if we're inspecting it? That's what James is asking here.
So we do have different styles. Our baseline warranty includes a 2-inch diameter hail warranty. We do have one product that we call Vermont HP, which literally stands for hail proof. That one we warrant for unlimited hail diameter warranty for the first 20 years. And really, as far as hail damage goes, you'd have to see a crack. And it's extremely difficult for anything that is anything like hail to damage our product with our current formula, our current setup. What we do with our hail-proof product is make the face of the shingle thicker, and there's very little ribbing on the backside. And so as hail hits, no matter how hard, how dense, how wind-driven it is, it cannot flex that shingle enough to form a crack. And that's why we're confident to put an unlimited hail diameter warranty on it. The other thing that's really cool is as you're going to run these tests, what you'll see is it really helps protect the deck as well, because rubber dissipates so much energy.
Yeah, I really wanted to see the backside of that thing. And I thought I would get you on that. And then you dispelled that notion for me the last time you were here when we were talking. So I am still going to test that.
Oh, it's not that you can't at some point. I'm sure you have the capability.
Yeah, and I'd like to get some of that super thick stuff just to hit it with like 8-inch hail. Since you said unlimited hail size, I'm going to break this thing. We're going to figure out how to shoot 12 at 1 foot diameter hail balls at this thing until it breaks. I think I can make it happen.
It wasn't hail related, but one of the homeowners, again in the Black Hills, their experience with our product, another homeowner that lived at the end of the canyon, and the wind funneled through there, literally took a dormer off the backside of her house, took it up over the top of the house without damaging it, and landed it in the front yard. And the only shingles that were damaged are the ones in the seam. Even all the rest of the shingles that were still attached on the face where that dormer used to be were all intact.
Wow. So to answer James's question about the inspection, you'd still have flashing zones that could be damaged, but if you can manipulate these shingles without causing any damage to them easily, then replacement of the flashing might not be as difficult with this material. Replacing a vent that gets damaged when you can just detach and reset these things, what you're saying is possible. Can you reuse the nail holes?
You can. We are okay with shingles being reused because they are rubber. The shingle does have the ability to just pull the nail up with it. And from a flashing point of view, because of the thickness of our product, you do need to use an open metal valley. You're not going to be able to weave the shingles or overlap the shingles. From that standpoint, if you're in a non-significant hail area, you can just use a 24-inch W metal and leave 2 inches of exposed metal on each side of that valley. If you're in a significant hail zone and you don't want to worry about that cosmetic hail damage in valleys, you can use more of a T-shaped valley metal and bring that shingle within a 1/4 inch of the center rib. So you eliminate the opportunity for cosmetic hail damage. And with our product, if you're putting it on for hail reasons, there are things you want to think about from your other accessories, from your venting, where you don't want to be putting in cheap turtle vents that you're going to have to pull apart a permanent roof. You want to be putting in better vents. If you're comfortable with using ridge vent and you've got the linear footage for it, obviously, if you get a rubber cap going over the rubber EuroShield cap going over the top of a ridge vent, that's a better scenario. Otherwise, if you're using a power vent that's got a replaceable cap, things where you're thinking differently, where really what you're trying to provide is a much better solution for the homeowner, but it is an overall solution, not just the roof covering.
Matt, have you ever have you ever, I'll use the word drafted an Xactimate estimate for this product before?
No, I don't. It's so unlikely that any PA will ever handle a claim with this material, simply because it's probably not damaged, or if it is damaged, it's the flashing that's damaged. I mean, it's solid, man.
Yeah, it would be.
I'm building a house. That's what I'm putting on it.
My wheels are turning for sure on it. No
Do you guys
doubt.
have any solar rubber shingles in the works?
Not yet. There are a couple of manufacturers that we've had some initial conversations with. There are certainly many EuroShield roofs where you've got with our product, it's no issue to mount solar over the top afterwards, because you're basically it's a great solution if you're going to put on solar and you're in a storm market, because you're not going to have to pull up your solar to replace a disposable shingle or roof covering underneath it. And
It'll last as long as the panels or more.
It'll last longer than the panels, realistically. Yeah.
Yeah. And the panels, they're going to get hail damage and the rest of it's not. So you won't have to replace the shingles with the panels when they get damaged. So an insurance company should probably love you guys. And the whole premise for this show really is that I have this topic for the wrong kind of roofing material. You have no problem with insurance companies. They should love you guys.
Yeah. From an insurance company point of view, you've got up to class 4 when you talk about hail resistance. The problem is the majority of class 4 products hail out at ping pong ball size hail. And, whether it's because the product isn't flexible enough to be able to take that type of impact, or you've got a coating that the hail is going to knock off, whether it's granules or paint, or you've got an aesthetic issue or potentially a functional issue if you've got a metal roof where you've removed that coating. With our product, because there's no coating, there's no issue from that perspective. Our challenge is products that there's not a class 5. We like insurance companies from the standpoint that they do provide a discount to homeowners for their homeowners insurance premium. But we don't feel like there's enough differentiation and classification, because true hail markets, class 4 does not fix the problem, because true hail markets, ping pong ball size or greater hail hits so frequently.
Did you called granules a coating a few minutes ago?
Yes.
Is that something that other manufacturers would call granules? Would they call that a coating?
What would you call it?
No, I want it to be true. This is really interesting. Is that really a coating?
Whether you're
Is it
talking about
aggregate surface,
yeah,
right?
so take some of the significant. Our products have replaced stone coated metal in states like Texas, Kansas, Montana, where you're counting on that granule mix to coat the steel, because once that granule mix pops off, you've got issues with oxidation, which is rust, and then over time you've got a hole. And so it is a coating, because once a hailstone hits the leading edge where it's bending at about a 90-degree angle on that stone coated metal, it pops off the granules, the coating, and you've got a problem. Obviously, same thing with asphalt shingles, because part of what those granules are doing is providing your UV protection, because of course once the granules are gone, then your shingle is going to degrade at a much faster rate. Because
So, Remington, if you were making an argument that cosmetic damage to shingles is actually functionally damaged, would you ever say, hey, if you damage the coating of any material, would that be considered functional damage, and just start from there? Would that be a good way to go?
I don't think it's a bad argument, for sure. I mean, hey, if granules is, we all know granules are on a shingle for a purpose, right? I know, Matt, you could name about 6 of them. If those granules are not there anymore because of a hail impact or a crease of a shingle, we know that the utility of those granules are not working like they would have before any type of storm event. So yeah, I would. I don't care how you want to describe it, as a layer or whatever it might be. I would definitely argue it as being damaged.
I like the coating language simply because it's pretty well documented for metal that the damage of a coating is considered functionally damaged. So if you are able to damage the coating of, they don't talk about this for shingles. They don't describe it as a coating in a lot of this stuff, but when they're trying to describe functional damage, they're saying anything that's going to reduce the expected lifespan of the shingle. Now, obviously, it's going to expose it to UV radiation, but will this 30-year shingle still last the expected 30 years of shedding water? It probably still will, because there's so many layers of it, and that's how they get away with saying that bullshit. But it's absolute garbage. It's bullshit. So yours, can your shingles even be cosmetically damaged?
I would say no, definitely not.
Do they show spatter after a hail event?
What you'll see, let's say that you've got dust on it'll knock the dust off the shingles. That's what it does. Knocks the dust off.
It won't expose some fresh rubber. It makes it darker in that spot or anything along those lines?
No, it won't.
Wow.
My question is, where are you getting all of these tires from? 300 tires of roof. That's a lot of tire.
It is, but it turns out everybody has far too many tires. So
good for you. Yeah.
Right. Says insurance doesn't pay for upgrades to shingles. I have been in several markets where insurance companies have tested that market to see if upgrading someone to high impact rating or to a more wind resistant shingle ends up leading to lower overall payments on policies. Nationwide did a study in Georgia. They called it the better roof endorsement. So sometimes they do pay for upgrades whenever you have to replace something. If every insurance company, instead of replacing the roof with asphalt shingles, decided that they should replace every roof with EuroShield instead, I wonder how many less roof claims there would be across the U.S. For you, you should totally want insurance companies to like you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
asphalt shingle manufacturers, I don't think that they have the same motivation there.
Well, I would agree. They've got a great business model where they get to replace the same roof over and over and over again. What we're trying to do is very different, because really what we're doing is working to provide the best protection out there for that homeowner as well as conserving the planet with the products that we're using to do it.
There you go. But hey, there's nothing that's going to stop a homeowner though if they have an ARC or 3-tab and they have a claim and it's getting paid for to put those proceeds towards an upgraded roof. Obviously, they just have to pay the difference outside of O&L upgrades. But it's just like anything else. If you want something that's a better product, you're just going to have to come out of pocket a little bit more. But I think you can still use RCV proceeds if you replace your roof and put that towards a EuroShield roof, if you will.
That's what I would do.
Yeah,
I would bet if you did that and then you told your agent that you upgraded your roof to EuroShield, which is it rated as, is it technically a class 4, all of them?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you might even get a discount on your premiums at that point. Of course, the replacement cost of the property might go up as a total loss scenario from a fire or something. Brad thinks that everything that you're saying is an absolute nightmare because he's picturing in his mind a world where there's no more roof replacement from hail and wind, and he's going to pee himself as he goes to sleep tonight. And that's your fault.
You're welcome.
Brad, you're not looking at the big picture here, bud. This product is for a certain percentage, I would have to say. Like I said, I mean, the only time I've ever seen it's on pretty high-end residential properties. So we'll talk
about some drawbacks on it in just a second, just to really flesh that out and not freak Brad out too much. Assuming EuroShield is more expensive than Owens Corning Flex or Malarkey Legacy, how much better is EuroShield for the homeowner and why? This is your elevator pitch.
Absolutely. So again, that comes back to the issue of the best class 4 asphalt shingles. Once you get to ping pong ball size hail, you're in trouble. And so that means in certain markets, they will get you what you need from a functional point of view. The only reason to buy EuroShield is not hail. There are a lot of talking points as to why a homeowner would want that. That's what we're talking about. Yes, it's from an insurance point of view, it's a big claim issue, but it's something where we have replaced so many class 4 products in hail zones because a homeowner thought that they solved their problem. I went to a top line class 4 asphalt shingle. I went to a stone coated metal roof. I went to a 22 gauge on my house, standing seam metal roof. And what did I have to do? Replace it with rubber. It didn't solve my problem.
Shut. So it lasts how long now?
Our life, we've been around 23 years. Our life expectancy is 50 plus years. What happens to a tire? It either doesn't have enough tread to stay on the road or it gets punctured. But what does it do? It still holds water. What do you need it to do? Hold water out of your roof, out of your house.
There you go. I think we answered this one. Does it give homeowners premium discounts for impact resistance? A lot of policies do. The RCB might go up. How does EuroShield conquer the logistics problem of not being the local distributor, authorized distributors everywhere? Authorized distributors everywhere? I don't know how to ask that.
Okay, so not exactly sure here, but what I would say in general is we do have a different business model where because it is a specialty roof, we primarily sell direct to contractor, and that is to keep our price lower. We will sell through distribution, but we sell to the contractor at the same price that we sell to the distributor. And we are set up to deliver anywhere within North America within about a 3-week time frame.
This is a good part I hadn't thought of. Is there a disposal fee like you get for tires? If
No.
You tear this? No. Will you guys accept rubber back to put into new roofs?
We will. We basically have close to zero waste at our factory because even as we have our startup pieces, we recycle those back into our process. It comes down to the logistics and whether or not it's worth it for the contractor or homeowner actually want to ship it back to us to use it from that standpoint. Otherwise, it's not the same as putting a pile of tires into a landfill. There, you're entrapping air, oxygen in case there is a fire where you can't get to it because so much of that pile, because it's not dense, because you have so much air and you can't get to it. It's also something where with our product, it is 70% recycled tires, but part of the remainder of that formula specifically is fire inhibitors. I invite you to take a torch to it. It's not going to go up in flames in a hurry. If you remove the flame from it, it does self-extinguish.
Okay.
Do asphalt shingles self-extinguish?
Honestly, if you burn, if the granules are gone, I don't want to answer that incorrectly. I'm not certain how the two would compare head to head. Part of what happens in building code is from a fire perspective or from an impact perspective, products are tested fresh out of the factory, fresh off the product line. And that's not a real world test. What do you want to call a roof new for a week, a month, a year? Whenever you have a coating, a granule, where you know you're going to have significant granule loss right off the bat, what happens when you have a 7-year-old roof and it's hit by fire? Does it perform the same? Of course not. If it's an asphalt shingle where it's had significant granule loss. And so that's part of it too, is, what opportunity do we have from a building code perspective to maybe add a new test to the overall certification process on what means class A, B, C, how fire resistant a product is, to test an aged product.
If
Matt,
you shot
we're gonna have to figure all this out.
Damaged.
Matt, I'm sorry. I was talking in front of you. We're going to have to figure this out. We're going to have to test this in person.
Oh, no. I've already sort of planted that in my head the second week I asked the question. Now, there's going to be a whole line of shingles sitting outside while we're shooting the cannon on the 16th. We haven't even said anything about that yet. We're going to be doing this whole event on the 16th, and we're going to be firing this cannon that EuroShield gave to us, and we're going to fire it at all these different materials, including old shingles, but we're also going to shoot at the rubber one and duck and weave as the ball comes right back at our faces because it's just going to bounce right off. But I think we're going to set some shit on fire too.
After hearing that comment, I'm definitely going to. I'm definitely down.
We have to, right? It's for science.
Exactly.
We have to.
Exactly.
By the way, I've got TJ McCormick sitting in the wings. He is really dying to get on this thing because he wants to talk about this thing. And since I brought it up, EuroShield and the World's Greatest Roofer are presenting this live event on September 16th for free for everyone. And that's going to be broadcast at the National Claims Institute. You can come live. You can get free food, free drinks, free education. We have a ton of sponsors that are coming in to make sure that it's free for everybody and make sure that everybody has a great time. But there's going to be so much information. What's it called, TJ?
You know what, Matt? We're going to have to go back and talk about a little bit about what you just said. But it's going
maybe it's not free drinks.
Yeah, or food. I think that we should have.
Maybe it's not free food.
Yeah. So, but no.
Maybe it's not free education.
I'm TJ McCormick, also known as World's Greatest Roofer, and I woke up with a dream the other day, and my dream didn't have a name until the past couple of days, and then it has morphed into EuroShield and World's Greatest Roofer presents roofing ahead of the curve, and live from National Claims Institute. And Matt, you and I and Leslie, you and I have also had conversations and understand where my head is when it comes to this event. And I really have struggled with the fact that there are about 90% of the roofing community that don't get to go to events or don't even know that events exist out there in this world. And if they do know about the event, possibly they're on draw to draw, or they're on paycheck to paycheck, or they have 4 kids like me and they can't really afford $1,000 ticket. and then also, a hotel room and airfare and all that stuff. And my goal was to have an educational experience where people like that can actually learn and not have to pay for it, and they can stay at home and they can be out on a roof and watch us live for 12 hours, educating people on the craft of roofing, which has become, and maybe bring some people up that maybe needed to learn something new to help them.
I want to set up a couple of EuroShield roofs and have it bounce off of one, bounce into another one, bounce off of that, and then into a couple of different shingle roofs and just destroy those.
I don't think that Remington should pee on himself. I heard that comment earlier, but it's going to be pretty great. So
I think it's pretty cool.
we just had some more exciting news. I can't wait to tell everybody. I think that tomorrow would be the best time for us to tell everybody who that is that I know is going to come. They're just making sure that the logistics make sense, and they're going to be a part of this event as well. But I really think that a 12-hour event where we end it on science, having live streaming cameras in 7 different angles, as well as having those cameras we talked about, Matt, that we can go back and watch later and actually have people review that, know the speed, know the diameter, know how, what shingle it was. Of course, we're not legally going to tell anybody if we are hitting shingles what brand it is. I want to make sure anybody that's out there knows that we're not going to tell anybody what manufacturer it is.
We'll have a secret code.
Maybe with one exception. You feel free to let them know it's EuroShield.
Oh yeah, for sure. That one exception, people will know that it's actually you.
There you go, Leslie. I love it. I love the confidence.
No doubt.
Yeah, I imagine a world where all roofs were EuroShield and how few roofing related issues there would be, and how few tires there would be in landfills. You don't take a lot. You only take a good one. 75%
of landfills typically in a storm location is all shingles, and it's year over year like that.
Yeah, my wife does not want me to do MythBuster stuff. I think that's, look, you married the wrong man. Right? She won't let me have a motorcycle either.
So what I've thought about this is like the people that are involved in this. We could possibly have 300 people plus if it gets that big at the center, right? But I think that the best way that we can feed people and everybody can be happy with the food is if we have some food trucks as well as a beer truck out there, and everybody can come and go and grab it as they wish, and then we don't have to worry about health department and all that other stuff. And everybody stays happy because it's free, and typically people won't mind buying some food or some beer. So
the whole point of this event, the roofing ahead of the curve idea here, is to help roofers understand the current climate, all the new rules, new regulations, how things are changing, and how they can stay ahead of the curve on those things, right?
Yeah. I think that we can educate people in a better way to understand what's going on in our world, and how we can all kind of come together so we're all getting a similar message, instead of one message being here, one message being there, and everybody trying to pull each other apart instead of bringing each other back together.
I think that's a great idea. I actually have one good question about EuroShield back in here that I don't want to give up before we get off of the topic. So what happens if there's an interior house fire that doesn't burn down the house? Is there a certain temperature that EuroShield roofs can get to without having to be replaced? Do they start to bubble? Is there blistering?
At some point with any product, you're going to get some amount of deformation. But if you actually, one of the testimonials on our website is from a house fire up in the Crested Butte, Colorado area. And the feedback from the fire department is they felt like part of what helped contain that from spreading to, the forest, because it was remote, was the EuroShield roof.
Wow. That's really great. you have something special, and I know you know that, and I can't wait for the world to see that product because it's been needed for a very long time. And I heard what you said earlier about class 4, just and the fact that the granules are just a coating. Like, that's so true. If you ever watch how it's made, you know, the coating is laid on the top of it and it just seals itself a little bit harder, but it's going to get damaged if it's 1.75 or more.
Well, it's going to get damaged with less than that, depending on how old it is. You know,
True.
the studies only show roofs aged 0 to 11 years old.
Yeah.
If it's beyond that, they just stop the study for some reason.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with the fact that they want to have data that supports their position, though. I'm definitely not insinuating that the data is used against you by any means. As a homeowner.
Remington, are you going to be there?
I swear I was just looking at my schedule to see when I can fly down. I mean, if we're shooting some stuff and, you know, at the end of the night, maybe catching some shingles or so forth on fire, I might have to just make my way down there, you know. I might have to make an appearance here.
That would actually be great.
I think it would be great for you to be there. Like, I think that the more people from this industry that mean something to this industry coming together, it shows the solidarity between us, and this is how we do it.
Yeah, man, we can start talking about some bullshit too, Remington.
Let's talk about some bullshit.
There you go.
I haven't done that one in a while. It'd be fun. Cool. So I brought you on to talk about whether insurance companies or shingle manufacturers care whether insurance companies like them or not, but they ought to like you guys. They ought to be pushing you guys. It sucks that they don't. Surprises me. I think that any roofing contractor out there, if they have homeowners that are really sick and tired of all this process and they want to give someone an actual real lifetime warranty.
Yeah, and it comes down to two factors, right? So there's codes when the top classification is a class 4, which doesn't solve the problem in significant hail areas, which certainly insurance companies have a lot of influence in driving. But then also it comes down to discounts, and that's tied together with codes and different levels and product performance. And so if you're incentivizing from a financial point of view, whether it's a difference in deductibles or premium discounts, or helping, like you were discussing earlier, on an upgrade on a re-roof, that's where the insurance company helps influence the decision of the homeowner.
Maybe some municipalities ought to give rebates. Is it energy efficient by any chance?
I will tell you, the municipality where we manufacture it has actually done a rebate when homeowners went to class 4. I'm concerned for the city of Calgary that they're going to have an issue when significant hail comes through again, because all those class 4 products that they gave $2,000 grants to for homeowners are going to get hailed out again if they put on a class 4 asphalt shingle.
You know, that'll be an interesting event. All those, man, I can't wait to see what argument the carriers give on that, or what the engineers are going to say. That's honestly something that I would be really excited about. I want to see those engineer reports. I want to fight a few of them. I think that would be a lot of fun. Well, but so they actually like your rubber roof, and they, is that because your shingle manufacturer is there that they're giving that kind of rebate?
Actually, it's more set. It's because we had a $1.4 billion hailstorm 2 summers ago. And so there's an understanding that we have to have products that withstand more severe weather conditions. We're not the only manufacturer based here. There's an asphalt manufacturer whose home base is here as well.
if I were to fire hail out of the cannon that is on fire as it comes out of the cannon, do you think that your shingles would withstand that?
I think you're going to have to coat that in some really great fuel source to keep it burning at 183 miles an hour before it hits the shingle.
Gasoline probably freezes, right?
Everything does at some point, right?
Green gasoline ball. It can't be that much difference.
Something like that where it's just a quick blunt impact, especially with a rubber shingle like ours that is going to dissipate that energy, bounce it off. There's a way it would catch fire.
It would just be napalm at that point, just spreading the thing everywhere. It might as well become a flamethrower. That's a terrible idea.
Matt,
Really
we
wanted
only have to. We weren't letting the fire department know that we were shooting fire. We said that we were just going to make noise.
I don't know if we should notify the fire department of this event at all. I think this might be a terrible idea. All right. It has been an hour.
Yeah.
We did not really get anywhere in our topic. I might even go back and change the topic on this episode and just like strike it out. But never mind. EuroShield is way too good. Insurance companies love this shit. That's probably what the topic is actually going to say now. Well, thanks for trying.
I think we all came to that conclusion. They would love to have a bunch of EuroShield roofs. That's for sure.
By the way, and I didn't say this to anybody yet, but I've installed a lot of roofs at the National Claims Institute. The EuroShield on top of it all was one of the easiest roofs to install ever. You can cut it. It's like freaking butter. Cutting the edges of that. Oh, it was beautiful. It's easy to install. The instructions are very clear, and it's written right directly on the friggin' shingles. It's awesome. It's awesome. Anyway, all right. Check that shit out. EuroShieldRoofing.com. I also put a link in the comments for the Roofing Ahead of the Curve event. Scroll back up a little bit to catch a hold of that. TJ, I'm booting you off. Thanks for being on real quick.
I'm going to go back and finish playing golf. So
see you, TJ.
Leslie, thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I'm probably going to bring you back on again so that we can scare more roofers.
Okay, and then I look forward to the 16th. Let's have some fun.
It'll be a great show.
See you, Leslie.
The 16th is a thing. It's at the National Claims Institute. It's going to be broadcast live. You can be here in person. You can watch it online. There's going to be like 50 million different sources for you to watch it. It's going to be great. If you would like to help listen to this bull, which will be broadcasting live for that entire event as well, you can buy shirts. You can't get this one. I haven't been able to figure out how to get this one. This is one that my wife maybe, but you can get shirts with the bullhead on it on our website, listentothisbull.com. Money, the proceeds that come from that help us maintain our equipment. Honestly, we don't make any money on this show at all.
No.
We don't have any we don't have any money coming from this. So help us out with it. It'd be great. What else am I supposed to be saying?
Hey, I want to say this. If anybody has ever drafted an Xactimate estimate with a EuroShield product, please send it to Matt. I want to see it. And Matt, I'm just thinking about instances like, okay, if there's a tornado, right?
There's going to be times.
Yeah, right. Hurricanes. I want to see it. I just want to take a look at that and see, kind of dissect that Xactimate estimate. Definitely want to.
Is tornado damage a thing?
I think tornado damage is a thing. No.
Not on the EuroShield.
No. I had to know.
I love it, man. Seriously, like the first time I ever saw one of those, I've been noticing them, more prevalently lately. I'm telling you what, if I ever have to replace my roof, I'm really going to look into that.
It really is something worth looking into. If I wasn't going to cover up its beauty with friggin' solar panels, I might still end up doing it because it's still going to be better than putting the metal roof on with the solar panels anyway, because then the metal roof is going to end up getting dented or rusted or whatever. It's a freaking brilliant product.
Yep.
I have the same opinion that Brad has about so much of this, but at the same time, there's a lot of bullshit. I forgot to ask her how to vandalize those roofs. I don't think you can.
We'll find out on the
If you can't be damaged by
16th.
hail, you're not going to simulate hail. You're not going to be able to simulate when you can't do ship.
I'm sure on the 16th, there's going to be a lot of perils that you're going to attempt at the EuroShield. So we'll find out.
Yes, yes.
There you go.
Axe-shaped hail made of metal. I hope they bring some extra materials. I'm going to destroy some of it. I have to. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
See you guys.